Good morning, everyone. Okay, so make sure you write today's date, 12/3/20. And today we are solving equations with variables on both sides. So we've been learning how to solve equations for a while, so this is the next step to this. Very important. You'll be seeing these when you get into the higher math, but it's pretty easy. It's pretty basic. You just have to follow along. All right, let's get started with our first example. 5x is equal to 2x plus 30. Okay, so right off the bat, you might notice something really different that we haven't done before. You have x's on both sides of the equal sign. Usually the x is just on one side, right? And we move everything to the other side. But in this case, we have an x on both sides. Well, the first thing we have to do is get all the x's all to one side. So you look at the numbers and you go, okay, do I want to move the 5x to this side or do I want to move the 2x to this side? Well, here's my advice. Always move the x with the smallest number in front. So 2 and 5, 2 is smaller. So I'm going to move the 2 over. And you move it as a whole group. You're going to move it as a whole term. So I'm going to subtract 2x because I'm going to bring the whole thing over, the whole thing to this side. I need to get x all together. Okay, so here, because it was 2x, and if I do minus 2x, 2x minus 2x is 0. Fantastic. On this side, I have 5x minus 2x. What is 5x minus 2x? That gives you 3x. 3x equals, and on this side, we're just left with 30. So now we're left with the one-step equation, which we are all familiar with. And in order to get, now we get x by itself. Since x is now the only thing on this line, we're going to divide by 3, right? We want to get x by itself. So this eliminates, we're left with x equals 30 divided by 3 is 10. Okay? So here is the new part right here. The new part starts at the beginning, where you see you have x's on both sides and we got to move it, but we move it as a whole. We don't just move the 2. We're going to move the 2x as a whole, move it to this side. So 5x minus 2x is 3x, right? We're going to subtract the big numbers. We get 3x, and now in order to move just the number, we divide by 3, divide by 3. Okay, let's try another one. 13x plus 60 equals 16x. Okay? You decide, like, okay, so here's my bars. I got to get x all on the same side. I have 13 on this side and 16 on this side. And you got to ask yourself, well, which one do I move? Always move the smaller one. So the 13 is smaller than the 16. So I want to move this whole thing to the other side by subtracting 13x on this side, subtracting 13x on this side. Okay? What happens here, it eliminates. We cancel it out. You're just left with 60 is equal to 16x minus 13x. 16x minus 13x is 3x. Oh, we have another 3x left over. Now you see, you're like, okay, I'm just left with a one-step equation. I'm left with just one x, not two of them. So in order to get x all by itself, I have to divide by 3 because this means multiplication and you have to do the opposite. So I'm going to divide by 3. X equals 60 divided by 3, 20. So that's our final answer. X is equal to 20. All right. Let's do one that looks a little bit different. Same process, just a little bit different. 26 plus 8x is equal to 4x plus 50. Okay, so now we have a couple of like additional things that we're gonna have to move, you know? So first thing I would do is let's move your x's. Let's get x all to the same side. I have an 8x and I have a 4x. Again, move the smaller number. So I'm going to move the 4x because it's smaller than 8x. You can move the 8x, but you end up dealing with negatives, and no one wants to deal with negatives, okay? So I'm going to subtract 4x. What happens here? This gets eliminated. We end up with 0, which is what we want. On this side, we have 8x minus 4x. 8x minus 4x is 4x equals. Now, bring down everything you haven't used. Well, I haven't used the 50, so I'm going to bring it down. I haven't used the 26, so I'm going to bring it down. And I'm going to bring down the addition sign. Okay? How did I get 4x? Right here. 8x minus 4x, right? I brought over this 4x, I subtracted, and I got 4x. Okay. Now we have a two-step equation, which we have been doing for weeks now. Now you're just, if you want to ignore the top part, you can. And now you're just left with this problem. And you ask yourself, okay, 1x by itself, I have a single x, and I got to move it. So which number is furthest away? That's on the same side, 26. So I'm going to subtract 26 from both sides. I'm left with 4x equals. Go on the, if you want to go and borrow on the side, you can. You get 24. 50 minus 26 is, 24. That should be a 4. Woo, good thing I was paying attention. I'm going to draw my bars. And last step to get x by itself is to divide by 4. Divide by 4. X equals 6. Okay, let's try one more. You're not going to, it takes time, it takes practice, it takes you paying attention. If I have x plus 100 is equal to 10x plus 19. So the first thing you want to do is realize, okay, I got x's on this side and this side. So we got too many x's, right? So we want to put all the x's together. What's invisible in front of this x? What number is invisible there? It's a 1. So here I have 1x, here I have 10x. You move the one with the smallest number in the front, the coefficient, well, the 1. So I'm going to move it to this side by minus 1x minus 1x. This eliminates, you end up with 0. So I can, if you want to do that right now, you just bring down the 100 equals. Then here I do the math. 10x minus 1x is 9x. Bring down the plus sign, bring down the plus 19. Right? Now you're left with a simple problem that we've been doing forever now. Hopefully this is now simple for you. You want x by itself. So that means I got to move the 19. It says plus 19, so you're going to do subtract 19, subtract 19. So 100 minus 19, and I'm going to borrow. That gives me 1. That gives me 8. 81 on this side is equal to 9x on this side. Now, how do I get x by itself? How do I move the 9? I'm going to divide by 9. Divide by 9. That eliminates this. And all I am left with is x equals, and then I got to do the math. 81 divided by 9 is 9. That's it. Okay, we'll do one more together. We have 25x plus 6 equals 9x plus 38. First thing is to draw your bars, just like so. And you have 25x, you have 9x. So which one do we want to move, the 25 or the 9? Let's correct the 9 because it's smaller. So I'm going to go minus 9x on both sides. This eliminates, so we're going to do the math. What's 25 minus 9? That's 16 plus the 6. This eliminates, right? It's a 0. We're good. We're happy. We're going to bring down the 38. All right. So now, again, your goal is to get x by itself. So we're going to do minus 6 minus 6. So we have 16x, because this gives you a 0, is equal to 32. Okay, we want x by itself. Well, what's our last step? Our last step is to divide by 16. Divide by 16. X equals 32 divided by 16 is 2. Very good. So x equals 2. All right. Good job. Make sure you copy everything down. Look, I even drew a smiley face. So guess what I'm going to be checking? A smiley face. Everything I write down. All right, let's go head on over to the classwork.